Outlaw cowboy Nate Love seeks revenge for the men who killed his parents and disfigured his face. A gang war erupts once notorious outlaw Rufus Buck escapes from prison. Buck and his gang occupy a small city while Love and his gang seek justice. Hey everyone, welcome back to Clubhouse Movies Podcast. I'm your host Mark Rubalcaba, joined once again by Mr. Evo Pineda. Today on this episode, we'll be reviewing The Harder They Fall, directed by James Samuel.
A vigilante cowboy is on the hunt for the killer of his parents. When the gun smoke clears, is he gonna see more than just spent bullets?
Hey, so, did we need another cowboy movie?
I felt like I was watching The Magnificent Seven for the 7th time.
The Chris Pratt one or the original one?
All of them. I don't think they need to make any more, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, well,
I'll say, oh no, let me rephrase that. I don't mind a good cowboy movie.
mm-hmm.
I do mind when it's a hyper-stylized cowboy movie.
Yeah. The thing about this movie was it didn't know if it wanted to be hyper-stylized.
That's the thing, and that's what I kept alluding to. That's what actually kept me from going, this is a pretty cool cowboy movie.
Well, it had a good beginning, like a good prologue, which is the you killed my parents.
It was a hard prologue. That came in strong.
And I could see where they were trying to pull a Quentin Tarantino with the Inglourious Bastards kind of thing,
like straight up,
just a ruined family dinner kind of thing.
Some good looking chicken on that table, man.
But
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm gonna get after this shoot. I tell this guy go get Popeyes.
Jeez, man.
When we're done filming, man, those spicy chicken sandwiches and spicy tenders. That's my go-to.
Just give me spicy everything, dude.
I know, spice up. You know, they say he who controls the spice controls the universe. I have some thoughts about this movie.
I'd like to hear them because I have some thoughts about this movie.
First and foremost, I think it was cast well.
That I will actually say it was cast very well. Especially when I saw Jonathan Majors attached to this.
Yeah, Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, I was like, hey,
Kang the Conqueror versus Idris Elba, who's good in everything.
Yeah.
I feel like the execution and the story were just a little...
Yeah, it could have, for the budget they had, I'm assuming they had a pretty damn good budget considering who produced this. It just felt like it could have been better. Like it was reaching and it was doing a damn good job because the characters, you love them.
Yeah,
they really sell themselves.
It was reaching. They didn't know what they wanted to do, and the cinematography was a little off.
It was weird.
I felt like when so in the old days, they used to you have to use 2 different types of film to do indoor and outdoor shoots, and like it was really jarring.
Yeah,
I felt like this was somehow made in the future and made in the past
at the same time.
Yeah, at the same time.
I noticed that too. It was very hard to watch. It was fragmented.
Yeah, and the sets looked like sets. Like I feel like it was made at Knott's Berry Farm.
And I'm a little better than Knott's Berry Farm, I'll say that. Not by much. But yeah, it was so weird too because some of the sets were just awesome colors, which were weird for that time anyway. And then other sets were just stark one color.
Yeah, and what kind of got me going was once Jonathan Majors' Nate Love was in the pretty much the pre-title sequence when he was in the church and he shot one of the guys who killed his dad, and the guy's like he's shooting him like a video game, like he's shooting him and he's like flying with every shot with a pistol.
Yeah, and it's like pausing,
and it's pausing with the harder they fall.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, is that a combo breaker?
Yeah, it's like this. The harder they fall. But I think they even put in the does and the days.
Yeah. They even had weird repeating gunshot sounds that were going to a beat in one part of this movie.
Yeah, the music was a little off on this movie too.
Yeah, don't use reggae in a Western.
Yeah.
Just don't. I don't care how.
Even Quentin Tarantino, who really likes to put stylized music in all of his movies, knew to get a composer to do his Westerns. Yes. And he hired the king of composers, Enrico Morricone, I forget his name, the guy who did all the good, the bad, the uglies. It was like his
thank God.
Bookended his life.
Yeah.
Because I think he died shortly after all those movies.
Man, he did a good damn job, dude.
Yeah. And it really puts you into it. Where this one, I don't know if I need cowboys running off in the sunset to reggae.
Yeah, that was so off-putting for me. And it may be just because I grew up probably just like you watching spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood, just hard, mad at the world, and it was just quiet, stares at each other.
How awesome would it be to have Idris Elba like coming out in cowboy attire,
dude,
with some boom, 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 boom.
It would have been great.
Just some real hardcore spaghetti Western music.
Man, it would have been, that was what I was hoping for when I saw the trailer, and then I started hearing the music. I'm like, I really hope this music is just for the trailer.
Yeah, and it was just me with this like music, like high school like music too. Like it wasn't even like new music. It's like pulling out the classics on Grand Theft Audio radio.
Grand Theft Auto radio. That's exactly what it was. It's like, all right, where's my top-down camera?
It's like instead of Dead Red Redemption, it was Grand Theft Auto.
It was. Red Dead Redemption had a definite better soundtrack than this movie.
You are right. This Red Dead Redemption soundtrack had like really soulful, like sad music.
Yeah.
And a lot of old timey like hymns and stuff.
Yeah. And it was, so the one thing that also put me off is when they did finally choose to go with the Western themed music for this, it felt like I was watching that one movie with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson, Shanghai Noon.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like I was watching. I'm like, but they would play it during super serious moments, and I'm just like, all right, where's Owen Wilson and where's Jackie Chan going to fly out of?
Yeah, I call that my Kung Pao chicken.
There we go.
Well, anyway, so let's get into a bit of the story here. So the prologue, there's a couple of pre-title sequences, and you can tell he was reaching for like James Bond.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very much so with this one. And then, as we said before, a young Nat Love is sitting at a dinner table with his dad and his mom in an old Western.
About to enjoy some supper.
And then guess who storms on the reservation?
Freaking Idris Elba's Buck.
Rufus Buck. Yeah. And Rufus Buck, his dad opens the door. I don't know. He seemed like he didn't want to answer the door, but he did anyway. Yeah. He had a rifle above the door.
Yep.
He didn't go for it before he answered the door.
Yep.
So almost like he accepted his fate that he had to die.
Yeah.
So Rufus Buck and his associate proceed to kill his dad and his mom after like a tense cowboy scene.
So we don't see Rufus Buck at all during this sequence.
Yeah, we do.
We do. Is that at the end?
Maybe.
So,
yeah, but I know we saw him.
We saw the guns. So I know he puts the guns down and all that stuff.
I'm confident we saw him.
Probably saw him. But I was like, he was welcoming him. So it was weird. He was welcoming this guy you don't see until you see him.
Yeah. We know Idris Elba's in the movie, which is weird because if you look at his IMDb, like he actually wasn't like on the main list. I had to like add him in at the bottom.
Yeah, I don't even see him on. I'm on IMDb. He's not even here.
Weird, huh?
Weird.
IMDb, man. You gotta call some people.
He probably saw the final cut and was like, "Remove me from this." You're in 2/3 of the movie, sir.
He's in a lot of it,
which is good.
He is the bad guy, and him and what's his name? Jonathan Majors sell this movie, and everyone belonged in this. Everyone could have been in a good movie, pretty much here. I wouldn't have traded anyone else in this. It was just kind of executed a little wonkily. But after the boy's parents are killed by Buck, played by Idris Elba, Buck proceeds to carve a cross on Nat Love's face and his forehead. Just gives him a little cross. Mm-hmm. Another Quentin Tarantino-esque
from
mark.
Which one?
Inglourious Bastards. They would put swastikas.
Right. What the hell? Yeah, he's like, give me that blade. And he holds him down. He's like, hold him down.
Yeah. So that's the same movie. Yeah. So a definite nod there.
Good job, James Samuel.
Yeah. So then we smash cut to some time later. And I like how they didn't put years, so we don't know how much longer it was. Yeah. We see a man in a church, and Nat Love's already there waiting for him. Yep, Turns out the guy who helped Idris Elba is a preacher now.
Yep.
And Nat Love kills him.
Yep. He just tells him this whole little story about how the scorpion, a man with a scorpion tattoo on his hand.
What inspires a man to put a scorpion tattoo on his hand? So he kills him. He kills him in that super cartoonish way that we mentioned a minute earlier.
Yeah, very stylized.
And the movie proceeds to a James Bond-esque credit sequence.
Yeah.
And I know you don't like these James Bond-esque credit sequences.
I fast-forwarded to do this one.
Yeah, I wish I did, but I was making popcorn, I think. It's a good.
My wife had already made the popcorn.
It's a good moment to make popcorn.
Yeah, it is.
Because when the music ends and like it doesn't advance the plot usually in these James Bond openings.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it in James Bond because it's ceremonial, but whatever.
Yeah, hey. Nods are nods, I guess.
And then this movie just kind of keeps going. They rob the Nat Love gang that they announce is the Nat Love gang, but we don't. If we didn't have a giant title card telling us this, we would not have known, or we would maybe we would actually know as the plot comes along, which would have been better, by the way.
Yeah, way better.
We would just think a gang is just raiding another gang, which is what's happening.
That's exactly what happened. And it's this gang on cowboys. So they're on horses with red
the Crimson Hood Gang.
Yeah.
And we can tell that they're a gang, and it was like shirts and skins,
Yeah.
We know who the different teams are. We didn't need that clarification there. They're like, oh, you don't want to rob us because we're robbing everything.
Yeah.
The plot was a little weird. It's like they were robbing a bank to give to Rufus Buck, who everyone knows is in jail.
Yeah.
And somehow everyone knows that he's getting out of jail.
And we don't find out why he ever went to jail, ever.
Yes. We find out that he was double crossed.
Oh, right. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that, but we don't know what
possessed the guy to do it.
Why he was double crossed.
Yeah.
But so they rob the Crimson Hood gang, and different people get shot. Everybody kind of has like a quip about getting shot, and getting shot here, getting shot there.
Yeah.
I couldn't even remember the jokes. It was just
I couldn't either. It was this just back and forth, and that was it.
Yeah, but I mean, then they go to the saloon run by Zazie Beetz as Mary Fields.
Yep.
So Zazie Beetz, you'll remember her from Joker. She was Joker's supposed girlfriend who he had in his imagination.
Oh, wow.
And
would not have didn't even think about that.
She was also in Deadpool 2 as Domino.
Okay, that's way more recognizable.
The funny thing about Deadpool 2 as Domino is that she had a diamond shape on her face.
I don't even recall that.
Okay, well, she did because that's the way her mutant was.
Okay.
For some reason, they introduced Mary Fields, Zazie Beetz as Mary Fields, with the same diamond shape.
Yeah, she had a dotted little matrix on her eyeball.
Yeah, so I was thinking, not on her eyeball, but around her eye. I was thinking, why are they introducing her the same way that they had her as a previous character? Like they want to call back to Deadpool.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's the only thing I could think of. Other than I don't know.
She's like, I like stuff painted on my eye. Is that cool?
Yeah, so her and Nat Love, what's his name? Majors is Nat Love.
Yeah.
They had some sort of
history, love lost.
We don't understand. They kind of go into it, but apparently he wanted to marry her at some point, but like he didn't. That whole thing.
Like kiss, punch each other.
Yeah,
stuff.
They have a nice like cowboy romance. She apparently owns this bar where she's also a burlesque dancer.
Yeah.
And all of Nat's gang hangs out there. And I don't think they're his gang yet. I think he might have like a couple of people, but it just seems like more and more people join after this.
And I'm just like, excuse me. Yeah.
So the sheriff comes in, Delroy Lindo, playing Sheriff Reeves.
Yeah.
Him and another. So the gang, they robbed the Red Hood gang a minute ago. So they come back and they tell Nat that, hey, it looks like Buck's coming back. And then the sheriff comes and say, yeah, Buck's definitely coming back.
Yeah.
And we need to like put him in the ground. And then they do some sort of like game where he throws water in his face, but they're really leaving together, but to go hunt Buck. Then the gang follows them.
Which, like, of course,
it was pretty obvious. But then we cut to a scene that kind of really kicks off the plot. Everything before this was actually kind of just like, it just felt like filler.
Yeah.
It felt like exposition filler.
It was, for sure. It let you kind of get a weird introduction to these characters.
I feel like this whole thing was not ordered right.
No.
The post-credit sequence should have started here with this scene with a train robbery.
That would have immediately set it off, because then you would have been already like in the movie.
Because then now it's a train, like old school train robbery, and we meet Regina King's character, Trudy Smith.
Yeah.
And we meet also Cherokee Bill.
Yeah.
So
Keith Stanfield.
These characters here are really good.
They're so good. I will give it that, man. Cherokee Bill is played expertly, and so is Trudy Smith's character.
Regina, played by Regina King.
Regina King and LaKeith Stanfield.
And they're pretty much leading up the charge to go bust to go bust Buck out of jail.
Yeah,
who's on this train. He's being transported.
Yep.
And they have a good scene where they're going through like the first class. Like they stop the train. She shoots the conductor, and then they go through the first class. Who wants to be a hero? Like the thing about Cherokee Bill, he's got to like, oh, I guess you're the hero now. But he ends up like shooting people. Yeah. So he kicks their. Oh no, he doesn't kick. He doesn't shoot this guy. He cuts his Achilles tendons while he's trying to shoot him. Remember?
Yeah, and you know who that guy is? I don't know his name. I always forget his freaking name.
Yeah.
But that guy is actually, he was in the first episode of The Mandalorian, and he actually was telling Mando that he dropped his drink and he hit him in the face with a mug.
The actor?
The actor. Yeah, that's the same guy.
Yeah, because I guess he's finally in a proper Western now.
There we go. I was
Not a space Western.
Yeah, no space Western. So I was like, oh yeah.
So they proceed to the next car where they're actually holding Buck.
Yep.
And he's being chaperoned by a bunch of by army, like old-timey army men.
Yeah, they look like Confederate soldiers.
Yeah. And they were... This is kind of like a weird like plot. Like it was really wordy and really clunky exposition as to what was happening here. So I think these were corrupt.
They were. So I rewatched the scene a couple times just to understand it.
They were corrupt soldiers.
They were corrupt soldiers, and their higher up knew they were corrupt, but couldn't find a way to get rid of them. So I'm assuming what happened here is the gang, Buck's gang, wanted him out. In trade, they got to take out this corrupt platoon.
They pardoned Buck.
Yeah, full pardon.
He got a full pardon as long as
his crew.
And his crew, as long as they execute these soldiers.
Literally.
Now, they had to explain this.
Yeah, so they're telling the soldiers
they explained to the soldiers, we're going to execute you, and everyone's got a pardon. And Regina King gives them the paper and the pardon.
Yep.
Like, okay, well, what we should have done, and I feel like this is kind of like a first draft thing.
Yeah,
what they should have done is started the movie here, just had them kill everybody.
Yeah.
Once they get past the thing, let Buck out. You know, Buck's looking cool. Like,
by the way, they use this scene in the trailer.
Yeah.
So, and that sells you on the movie.
Yeah. They let Buck out. Idris Elba. He looks cool. He's in his like a plain black and white old school prisoner outfit.
Jumper. Yep.
They just like kill everyone and this and that.
He's like, who can drive a train? And a dude that's been just shot twice raises his only good hand.
Soldier.
Yeah. And he's like, everyone but him. And starts walking through in like this slow-mo, everybody's getting blasted. And Idris Elba's just walking down the corridor, looking cool as all heck, with bullets whizzing past his face.
Yeah. So to me, this scene should have been first. We don't know what happened.
Yeah.
We should have just had like Idris Elba looking at the paper and then like just some real exposition like, we're free, we're pardoned, like that. And then in the next scene, we go to the bar.
Yep.
And then the sheriff tells Nat Love what happened.
And then we know. Because that's what they were talking about.
Exactly.
But the thing is, you have to, having watched that scene, you have to be able to interpret that and assume that's what they did. But that's exactly what happened.
It is, but it was just so weird and clunky and
which is our complaint of this movie.
And it didn't make a lot of sense, just kind of like the way it unfolded, and it took me a while to really get into it, just because I was trying to figure out like who's where and
with the music literally on top of your face.
Pardoned, and she has to kill you now.
And you're okay with this?
Yeah, he's like, why don't we just shoot her now? Like,
you guys had them dead to rights.
I guess you could just execute us now.
Oh man,
I don't know. Well, that was a little weird. So they were pardoned. So then,
so they get off the train.
They get off the train.
The train drives away with that's it. They drive away. They're gone. We don't see them again.
For a moment.
Yep. And then they go to the town. I'm assuming Buck's new settlement.
So this settlement has a mayor sheriff.
Yep.
Who apparently was the guy who sold out Buck or whatever to have the city.
Yeah.
And everyone seems like all the politicians seem like they're still loyal to Buck.
Yeah.
So they let him throw out the sheriff mayor guy who they don't like.
Yep.
Buck just kind of kicks his ass and lets him go. And that's another complaint I kind of have about this movie is everybody has plot armor. And I hate that term because, but the thing about this movie is
everyone too great to kill.
Yeah, we'll need this guy later, so let him survive.
Yeah, and
he should have escaped through the back or something.
Yeah,
to have him survive, or
which would have made more sense for the way it unfolded after this.
Yeah, but it's just like let him go. Why? Because we'll need him later in the movie.
We're just gonna write. Yeah, this was the writers talking to each other and not writing this down.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, they should be able to extrapolate.
Yeah, he just punches him a couple of times, like let him go. He's a snake. Snake's got a snake.
Pistol whipped some teeth out of him.
Yeah, he had a bunch of gold teeth, and had the kids come and pick up the teeth. Hey, Idris Elba was great in this movie.
Yeah,
he was great as a bad cowboy. And then on the other side of the world, Nat Love and the sheriff, they left.
Yeah,
they tried to do this on their own, but then the gang just happens to show up.
Yeah.
Which is Zazie Beetz and then their friend and some other plucky.
Yeah.
We got a young fast draw and an older sniper.
Yep.
And everybody is just sort of like they kind of have their place, and they were all right. I like the young fast draw, but it was way too foreshadowy.
Oh my god, it was so much.
All this showmanship is gonna get you killed. It's like.
They see this over and over again. I think I counted at least 5 times they told him this.
Yeah, and then Koofy's like, I can shoot better than you and I won't get killed.
Whack, Brat, something.
Yeah, it was so clunky and so ominously. They should have like reversed it.
Yeah, it was like, hey,
to kind of Shyamalan you a little bit.
We're telling you, we're good. There were no red herrings.
Yeah.
At all.
There were no everyone could have come out. I think it would have been more shocking.
Yeah. Nothing alluded to anything, especially the ending.
Yeah. I did like Cherokee Bill though, because that guy was a pretty good side bad guy to Buck. Because they had a bad plan.
Yep.
It was a bad plan going in, and I was thinking, why do they have this plan? They met with so the Nat Love gang came together.
Yep.
And then what's her name? Mary Fields, played by Zazie Beetz, which is like, I got an idea. I'm going to act like I want to buy the bar, and I'll go in there and do a business proposition. The guy just came out of prison.
Yeah.
He's owning the town, and he already shot like a couple of town people. That's the other thing about this movie. Where are all the town people at? Like in the entire second half of the movie. They just disappear, and she's like, "I'm just gonna go buy his bar." Like the guy will take the bar, or he doesn't care.
He's already free, and he's scot free.
And the other thing was
literally free.
He was telling all the townspeople before they disappeared, like, "I want like $50,000, total, because like someone's got to pay the pickle man." And like he said something weird, like the tax man. You care about like? Are you joking here? Just telling them you just want $50,000, or do you actually owe somebody? I didn't get this part.
There's no reason why he needed that much money. Because
did he even need money? Because everyone.
So obviously the money that gets stolen by the Nat Love gang from the Crimson Hoods
at the beginning
was Buck's money. So Buck, apparently that was $25,000 that he needed. So apparently
he just wanted 50 after that.
He wanted 50 after that. But then again, when all this is going down, he settles with the Nat Love gang to get his 25 back plus another 10 on top. So it's like. So where did this 50 number come from? Was it just something they thought of? Was like, that's a good number.
And why didn't he rob his own bank? Like, did he have a bank in town?
I don't know.
Because he took over the town.
Yeah, it's his town now.
It's his town. But did they have a bank in this town? Like,
we see the teller. We see him I'm assuming whatever he is, the financier of the town.
He just kind of wanted money. He just kind of had this Dr. Evil, like, I just want more money. Like, you owe me money. This guy owes me money. I'm going to buy, can I buy your bar? No. But go find me money. Like,
oh my god, it was so clunky,
clunky is the word of the day for this one.
That story. So she shows up. Obviously, things go completely awry because she gets,
kidnapped and like beat for a bit,
choked a little bit, friggin' punched in the guts. We're assuming.
And then Nat Love shows up with his gang, and they show up like all cool for like a minute.
Yeah.
And then that's where the young guy Jim, I think. Him and Cherokee Bill get into it. Where he's like, I hear you're the fastest draw in the West. And he goes, yeah, I am. but I'm gonna go get another drink, and then he walks away.
He walks away. Yeah, he walks away mid sentence to the other guy. The other guy's like, "Wait a minute, where are you going? Talking about drinks?"
Yeah,
it was pretty good. I enjoyed that little bit.
I liked their banter, and
yeah.
it did have a good come around. But
it did.
Even though everyone saw it a mile away, but I think the way they executed it made it work a little better
because they made the bad guy stay a bad guy.
They made the bad guy stay the bad guy, but they also made the brash guy like stupid.
Yeah,
like he really
Which
screwed
is
up.
like most brash guys.
But we'll get into that as time goes on. So they end up capturing Nat here. Somehow they just grab him from his gang. Like, okay, guys, we're gonna take your leader.
Yeah,
and we'll beat him up, and then we'll figure out like what we'll do when we're done.
So he literally gets strung up, punched in the stomach a few times, and then they drop him, and now he's talking to Buck.
Yeah, and he's talking to Buck, and so Buck and Nat Love, that's where he put together this deal. Like, you got to go rob another bank. You got to go. Yeah.
It's like, I want my 25 plus 10 on top.
You got to get it from the White City. Yeah. This was a clever gag.
Yeah, I laughed out loud when I saw this. It was literally a city in the Western time, all white,
completely painted white.
Yeah, complete. And the sand was white. And the thing is, you kind of see some snow around, so you're assuming it's snow. But then they enter the actual bank, and it is stark white. It looks like White Christmas in there.
The funny thing was the title card. It said Maysville, and then in parentheses a white city. Yeah. But I just kind of like glanced at it when it came up. I thought it said mayonnaise, the town of mayonnaise.
I mean, it could have been.
Yeah.
Oh my god! It was just white. It was white.
Yeah. So what's his name? Nat Love. He comes in with another one of the
Cuffy
with Koofy coming in.
She pronounces it Cuffy.
Cuffy. Okay. They come in, and this was kind of a bad plan too, where they go in and then like she acts like his like wife, and then they say, "I want to make a withdrawal," and then like the lady laughs at him for a minute. Yeah, she's like, and then they rob the bank. Like, why don't they just go in there guns blazing anyway?
Yeah, because she just went in. She was like, "I want to make a withdrawal," and the lady's like, she's laughing, and then says, "Well, you have to have an account here, honey. If you want to take some money out."
To me, they should have just went in guns blazing. They would have had the exact same effect. And
I would have been more entertained.
Yeah.
It would have been
like cooler. They could have done a Honey Bunny Pulp Fiction. Everybody be cool. This is a robbery.
Yeah. And the thing is, this was such a hard stop in the movie.
It was. And then
it was.
And okay. Even when they filmed, even when they edited this, you see them, they take the money and then guns blazing out. Hard cut to them back in the middle of nowhere with their gang with just gold bars and cash. And it was just like I'm just going to say cash. I did the gold bars, I improvised. Yeah. Just cash.
Yeah,
But it was such a quick cut. Yeah. It's like, why we could have just like done I want you to go to the city and then rob the bank. Okay. Whoop. Yeah, and then cut to there.
Yeah, they could have literally just talked about it, and then we could have seen it happening as they were talking about it and just wrapped to the scene.
Yeah.
We would have been totally cool with that.
Just smash cut it or do some sort of montage.
And then the wipe, George Lucas style wipe, and now we have the cart with the cash.
It just wasn't assembled right.
No.
And then
they just threw money at it. And then like, fix this.
The whole rest of the movie was a gunfight.
We'd like to say we're being facetious, but it really was a gunfight.
Yeah, the whole rest of the movie was a gunfight at this point, but it was like, OK Corral, like a gunfight, Western style.
Yeah, it looks like they were fighting in downtown Knott's Berry Farm. In Ghost Town.
It did.
It really was, man.
I was waiting for the tram to pull up. Oh, look, the cowboys are fighting again. Hope they don't rob the train. Anyway.
Oh, we all know that.
It did start with the Cherokee Bill versus Jim Beckworth draw, which I think Jim was asking for it. He's like, he got all slow, and they're gonna do the draw, and he's like, count of 5. He's like, 1. He's like doing his hair, and he's like, then he's writing the guy's name on the bullet.
He's writing a hymn.
Yeah, 2, and he's just like, he's doing all kinds of things, and it's like 3. Then he shoots him. He's like, why are they so slow in the draw? Yeah. And everyone's like freaking out. I'm like, yeah, I would have shot him.
Yeah, would have shot him the moment he started counting.
Yeah, 1, like, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Exactly.
Like he was just being fancy, and he's like, why is it always so slow?
Yeah, and then he just walks off for a second, and he disappears for a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what starts the big shootout.
Yeah,
which was fun. It was a fun enough cowboy shootout.
Yeah, I could have started the whole movie at that shootout, and I would have been okay.
Yeah, and then the best part was the lucky coin guy. He he had got shot in the chest. Bill Pickett, and he's like, "Oh, I got shot in the chest, but I think it's just a flesh wound." And then his like lucky, what was it?
Yeah, his coin. He just has a coin.
Is a lucky coin. It just has a bullet in it. He's like, "Oh, I made it." And then Cherokee Bill comes back and shoots him in the back. I forgot to mention that was like his motif. Everyone's like, "I hear you're the fastest draw in the West, but you shoot everyone in the back."
Yeah.
So he did. He shot him in the back.
Shot him in the back once. He turns around and he was saying something, which I don't know what he was saying.
Cherokee Bill, he was saying like, "Don't give me those eyes, those your dying eyes. Like, I don't want to see that. You're dying."
He said you had a choice or something.
Yeah, you had a choice, which everybody did have a choice in this movie. Like, why did I guess Nat Love had revenge? He wanted to kill him. Everyone else could have just went home. Like, what were the stakes in this movie?
There was apparently $35,000.
Where did the $35,000 go? Why did they even rob the bank again? Like, I don't know.
The 35,000. The 35,000. Man, that was hard to say. Words are hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that money just came and went.
It was just
came and went.
It was just plot stuff. It was plot ether.
Most of this movie was plot stuff.
Plot stuff.
Oh, man. It was like they showed a timeline and it just said interject plot device here, and here.
Yeah, I just remember like thinking like that stupid dumb plan where where Zazie Beetz went to buy the bars, right? Everybody gets caught. Like
it's so dumb.
Everybody gets caught in the middle of the movie, and then it would.
Yeah, so let's get right back on track. Let's do that. So
I'm just thinking here.
So Bill Pickett is shot in the back, then in the front. He dies. Cuffy watches this happen.
And like she said earlier,
she was the fastest draw, right?
Faster than the slow ass Jim Beckworth, the show off.
Yep, and Cherokee Bill. So they both put their little things. They do their quick draw. Obviously, she shoots him. She shoots him in the neck.
Yeah, and the jugular.
Yeah, right there.
He's holding it in on his face, and as he's walking out, he falls and just squirts all over the place.
Yeah, it was so random. He was laying on his side, and you just see a stream just.
And Regina King, she fights Zazie Beetz.
Oh yeah,
which was a good fight. And she smashed her face. We didn't see her face, but my guess is she probably lost all her teeth too, and she's gonna gold teeth in the next one. She got pwned in the face real good
with a freaking rifle. Well, no, a shotgun. She got shot.
Speaking of shotguns, I forgot to mention. Remember the mayor left for a while. He kept running back into the Nat Love gang, and they would deliver some exposition, and he would come back. And then after they robbed the bank, he came back. He's like, "Hey, guess what I got? What, guns and bombs?" Like,
yeah,
he just came. He's like, "I got guns and bombs."
That's how he helped the Nat Love gang. I totally forgot to mention that because he was so forgettable that he just showed up with goods.
He had a good scene when we first met him where he's eating the steak and he's acting like he's talking to...
Oh, yeah. He had that monologue.
Yeah, he's talking to Rufus Buck. He's like, "Buck, you don't come into my town. Like, this is my town. The people love me." And he goes on for a while eating like a prime rib.
Yeah.
And then they cut into no one's there. He's like, "Hey, Buck's here to see you." He's like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Buck just kicks his ass.
Yeah, seriously. Literally just beats him up in the middle of town.
Yeah, and then lets him go. "Okay, well, the plot needs you later. Okay. Go get some plot stuff. Go get more literal plot armor.
Yeah. Go clean up your teeth.
Go get your power-ups."
Oh, we were holding back so hard to use that button.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I said power-ups, so.
Oh, it was good. That was a good one.
So so then the big reveal once we finally get Rufus Buck again, by the way, and Nat Love in the room together, and Buck's just being the bad guy, and I know you texted me something. "May the force be with you."
Oh man!
And I texted you that my thoughts exactly, but there was
Rufus
Buck, I am your brother.
and then there was
this whole scene, and I was watching and going, "Oh man."
It wasn't bad.
It came out of nowhere though.
Killing our father was retribution. But
My father! My mother!
It came out of nowhere, but it wasn't.
I do like how they explained it though.
Yeah, it wasn't, and it does go full circle because the guy he shot was also a preacher.
Yep.
So they kind of primed you for it. But what happened was Rufus Buck's dad is also Nat Love's dad, so he's actually Nat Buck, right?
He's Nat Buck. He changed his name.
He changed his name because his dad was a no good scoundrel cowboy.
Yeah,
also
alcoholic, beat his wife.
Terrible dude. And he ended up leaving that family to start a new family as a preacher.
Yep.
And that's where Nat Love came from. He's like, I couldn't kill my brother, but I can kill that no good scoundrel.
Yeah.
Scoundrel dad, my dad, and his whole
and
wife or whatever.
And this whole thing, which was pretty cool, I guess, was he gave him the scar so he would remember him.
He would remember his face when he came back for revenge.
So that way his dad remembered Buck as he came back and remembered him, for revenge. So
yeah, and the thing about it was, like I said, I don't mind that twist. It's good. And I think they should have got a ghostwriter, just hired Quentin Tarantino, whoever ghostwrites with Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
just hey, can you give this script another round of punch-ups? Yeah, punch, gotta punch it up. Just build it up a bit.
Yeah, just a little bit, man. Would have been good if they did that.
Yeah.
Pretty sure they would have rewritten it how we were talking about it.
And then maybe give the cinematographer a little shorter leash.
Yeah, please God. Because they did one stupid long pull that went through glass and then just kept going across the town where Buck and Love were staring at each other from church to sheriff's office.
Yeah, because this movie went from super colorful to we're filming at Knott's Berry Farm, on a handy cam.
Yep.
To we're all just in the desert, okay movie, regular movie.
Yep.
And then to hyper stylized, and then just to regular, and then it was just really jarring.
Yeah, it was all over the place.
Yeah. So then there's a whole. We're going back to the big Buck Nat Love reveal. He's like, you can't shoot your brother. You'd be more stone cold than me if you shoot your brother.
Yeah, he's like,
I couldn't shoot my brother.
You'll be the greatest Buck.
Yeah.
That ever lived.
Because you are the Buck. And then, naturally.
A few times. He goes complete. I was going to hit another button, but no. There we go.
Those bullets are slow. He's moving at bullet time.
Yeah, he's shooting them in bullet time. And he kills them all kinds of dead.
And he's sad and
then I walked away from my TV.
Did the movie just end there? Well, I know that it ended with the Regina King waking up. So if they have a sequel, she's going to be the villain.
Yeah. So the way it ends is Sheriff Reeves, or Reeve, whatever his last name is. We see him, we see Love, and then we see Mary Fields all standing there at this gravesite that has Mary Fields and Nat Love's headstone on it. Obviously, they're not dead. And the sheriff, or rather I think he's a marshal, Marshal Reeves says he has never seen them.
He's like, I'm the law. If I say they're dead, they're dead.
Yep. And then they ride off into the wind bullseye, and then the camera goes back, and we see
Regina Hall waking up, but we don't see her face.
Black.
We don't see her face, but we know she's alive.
Yep.
She's, like I said, she's probably got gold teeth. Oh, and the other death, I forgot to mention, the mayor, because the mayor killed Cherokee Bill. No. Who did the mayor kill?
The mayor killed just two randos, random bad guys.
He killed a couple of rando bad guys, but it was good. And then when he finally ran into
Cherokee Bill, was it Cherokee?
No. He finally ran into Rufus Buck.
Oh yeah,
he finally ran into Idris Elba before he died.
Yep,
he shot him in the dynamite and blew him up. And then also the other thing that we kind of just skimmed by is they burned all the money.
They burned all the money.
Nat Love.
We're not talking about the movie, the actual inside. Yeah. They actually.
Shut up and take my money.
It was so, like I said earlier, all of the money, the $35,000, was inside of a cart that had a bundle of dynamite. And
they burned all the money. I don't even know why they bothered to rob the bank if they're planning on burning the money. They could just filled it up with hey.
Yeah, they just blew it up. That was it. Not to mention, really weird. I forgot about this. How could I? Why were there musical numbers in this movie?
Yeah, there were a couple of saloon songs.
Yeah, the last one was more like a roaring 20s. And I was just like, okay.
Not to mention, there was a burlesque dancer wearing pasties and
that's what I'm talking about.
In a cat suit.
That was really freaking.
Did they have spandex back then?
I don't know,
because she wasn't naked and she wasn't wearing pasties. It wasn't going to be some kind of spandex.
Yeah, because she was all blue.
Yeah,
she was probably wearing a green suit.
Yeah, she was definitely wearing a cat suit of some form. It was weird. This movie was weird tonally. Didn't know what it wanted to be.
Yeah, it just said, I got money, I want cowboys, I got Idris Elba, and I got Jonathan Major signed up.
We got
something.
We got King the Conqueror, and we got the bad guy from Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like Idris Elba. He's good.
I do too. And I like Jonathan Majors. I don't have anything.
Everybody here was good. It was just not put together right.
Yeah.
And it was not put together all sorts of not right.
Yeah.
It was like, it was a Frankenstein cowboy movie
really
without
was.
Frankenstein. It even started with like the characters in this movie were real, the story's fake. Like, remember that? It had like a title. It had like a title
I didn't
card.
even notice that.
I'm like, yeah, just like Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Like, yeah, there was an
It's like, well, duh.
yeah, it's
But yeah, I mean, you want to get to letter grades before we just rant off on this one?
I don't know. I was just thinking like the plot of Indigo Montoya. It's like, what if he was a cowboy?
What if he was a cowboy?
That was the entire plot of this movie. Like,
this movie was his fever dream.
yeah, you could get started with the letter grade. I think that was the only other point that I wanted to.
You know what? I'm gonna, even though all these actors and all this stuff were in there, I'm gonna give this one a C. It says a movie that tried to be more than the sum of its parts, a Western that felt more like a West Side Story. Every time I tried to get into it, the music just took me right out of it. There's a market for this type of stylized Western, but unfortunately, that is not me.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a little better. I'm going to give it a C+. The Harder They Fall is saved by excellent performances and a great cast, but suffers from a simple and barely cohesive plot. Not a bad time to be had in the West, but far from the fastest draw in the West. Anyway, I don't think I have a whole lot of epilogue on this one other than, you know what? Check it out.
It's on Netflix.
Netflix and chill, as the kids say these days.
Get that popcorn during the title sequence.
Somehow, Idris Elba has a nice new car.
He does.
And I will tip my hat as he drives by, and he will tip his winds. What do you call it? His windows up when he sees me.
That'll be good.
And that'll be my big Idris Elba moment.
Man.
Anyway, I'm your host, Mark Rubalcaba for Mr. Ale Panetta. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that ding
notification, because you got to know when we drop new stuff, right?
Yes. And you've just listened to Clubhouse Movies Podcast. We will catch you next time.